Hi everyone, welcome to my May wrap-up. This was my slowest reading month of the year so far, but I still managed to finish 6 books. I'm filming this a few days early because I am getting my COVID vaccine tomorrow, and I just don't want to have anything in the way in case I have any side effects or something. So there's a chance I'll finish another book or two before the end of the month, but I'll just put them in next month's wrap-up. The other exciting thing is that I reached my reading goal for 2021. I set my goal at 50 books, and I knew pretty early on in the year that I was going to hit it on the rate I was going. But it's still really cool to see that I've read over 50 books in 5 months. Obviously, reading goals are a bit silly, and I'm planning on making a whole video on reading goals and Goodreads culture. But I'm still really proud of myself because just a few years ago, I had a couple years in a row where I didn't read anything at all. Anyway, here's what I read this month. Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, and I really enjoyed it. This one follows Emma and Julian, who we met in the last book of the Mortal Instruments series. And it takes place in LA, which I thought was a great kind of change of setting and change of pace. This one feels a bit more grown up compared to earlier entries in the series, which I really liked. I'm slowly but surely getting through all the Shadowhunters books, and I'm going to have a dedicated video on the entire series soon. Kink Stories. This is a collection of short stories that is edited by Kwon and Garth Greenwell. And it explores different aspects of kink and sexuality, and it's very fun. I thought it was kind of middle of the road. I really enjoyed a couple of the stories, but for the most part, I was a bit underwhelmed. I think it was really fun seeing all these authors play around with smuttier writing, and you could tell that they were really having fun with these stories. Brandon Taylor's story really stood out to me. It was my clear favorite. It had a bit more depth compared to most of the other stories in the book. I also really enjoyed Alexander Chi's entry. It was really sexy and cute and fun, but if it had shown up later in the book, I think I would have liked it less. Overall, this one felt like it was more fun for the writers than for the readers. It wasn't quite sexy enough to be considered erotica, but not really deep enough to be literary fiction or like a literary collection. So I'm not sure what it was trying to be, but I still had fun reading it. Transcendent Kingdom by Gyasi. Gyasi is an author who's been getting a lot of awards buzz over the last few years, and I thought overall this was a really good book. It just wasn't necessarily for me. This is about Gifty, who is a PhD student studying reward-seeking behavior in mice. This book was mainly about her relationship with her mother and also religion, and it was just a bit too Christian for my taste. I think it was a beautifully written book and definitely worthy of the praise it's received. I just wasn't the target audience. It wasn't my favorite that I've read. Next, I read Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. This one was on my TBR for so long. I was a big fan of the movie that came out a few years ago of this book, even though it's pretty problematic. I thought that the book was really good. I really enjoyed the format that this book has. The nesting doll approach works really well, especially as a book. I thought that the way it cuts between stories in the movie wasn't as clean as it was in the original novel. If you don't know about this book, it's basically 6 stories that are all kind of loosely connected and all explore similar themes. It works really well, and I feel like not every author could pull this off, but David Mitchell does a really good job with this approach. My favorite story was Louisa Ray's. It's a mystery that takes place in the 1970s. I got my copy from a used bookstore, and this is super cute. There was these little newspaper clippings that I found in the book that were reviews of the book from 2004 when the book was first published. It was a fun surprise to come across those while I was reading. Outline by Rachel Cusk. This is the first book of the Outline trilogy, which explores the same protagonist at different phases in her life. Rachel Cusk is big in the literary community and is starting to get talked about more and more online, and I think this is a really cool book. It's definitely not for everyone, and it doesn't really have much plot. The protagonist travels to Athens to teach a writing workshop, and it's basically just 10 conversations that she has with various people that she meets on this trip. We don't know too much about the character. We only get fed like little teeny bits of information, and we mainly get it in the form of her reactions to other people's stories. I think it's hard to fully review this book before I read the last two in the trilogy, but overall I really enjoyed it. It's definitely not for everyone. If you're looking for a plot-heavy story, you're not going to find it here, but I thought this painted such a beautiful portrait of someone, and this book is basically a mood board, is how I describe it. It's not a story, it's just vibes. Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I am so excited to talk to people about this book. If you've read it, let me know. This isn't a book that I want to talk too much about the plot of because it's definitely best to go in blind, but I highly recommend you read it. It's a fascinating fantasy novel with a great mystery, and the protagonist is so captivating and interesting. I'm not going to tell you what happens. Just go read it. Don't look up anything about it. Don't look up any spoilers. You're going to like this one, I promise. And then when you read it, come back and tell me in the comments so we can talk about it because, oh my god, it was so good. Anyway, that's it for this month's wrap up. I know it's a quick one. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you've been reading this month in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos coming soon. I'll see you next time.